What's up, guys, and welcome to Tayo Pop Screencast Weekly. Here we are in our new setup in the Tayo studio. Looks amazing. We have like a fancy couch and whatnot. Actually, we took a while setting this whole thing up. You guys won't know about it, but like there was so much stress with all the sounds and whatever. Uh, we're still learning as it goes, so hopefully, we'll improve over time. But you guys can see in the back, we have our little backdrops. In case anyone wants to have a photo shoot, again, Tayo is available for you guys to use. You guys can rent out this studio for your photos, for your podcasts, and whatnot. You could hold seminars here as well. So if you're interested in renting out our Tayo studio, just head on over to Instagram at Tayo Space or studio.tayo, and then you could reserve the studio from there. So yeah, going to our topic in Screencast Weekly. So for this week, we have four main topics to talk about. So we have something with Fantastic Four here. It turns out we might have, finally have our Reed Richards actor. And then we have some Superman Legacy casting announcement, which I'm really excited to go over. And then we also have our writer for the Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow movie in the DCU. And then lastly, we have the news on Avengers, Kang Dynasty. The director, Destin Daniel Cretton, departs the movie. So interesting interesting topics for today. Actually, all of these news just came out like just within today or just yesterday even. So yeah, starting off with topic number one, we have Pedro Pascal is being eyed to play Mr. Fantastic in the Fantastic Four movie. So over in Deadline, we have, after months of speculation over who might play Reed Richards, aka Mr. Fantastic, in Marvel Studios' Fantastic Four, the wait may be finally over. While a deal is far from done, sources tell Deadline that a three-time Emmy nominee, Pedro Pascal, is in talks to play the leader of the iconic superhero team. Insiders add that scheduling is still being worked out, but multiple sources close to the negotiations are saying it's headed in the right direction for Pascal to do this and his other future projects. So, starting off with my thoughts on this, I really was not expecting Pedro Pascal. With all the rumors I have been speculating, we've had I think any actor in Hollywood has been rumored for this role already. Yeah. We've had Adam Driver, we've had Jake Gyllenhaal, we've had Penn Badgley, John Krasinski, and so on and so forth. Honestly, my perfect casting for this, Meeks, was Adam Driver.
Oh, interesting.
I was really for Adam Driver. I was for Krasinski at the start, but then I really warmed up very quickly with Adam Driver. But if this is true, and again, as Deadline states, this is not official yet. He's being eyed. He has not signed any contract whatsoever. But if it is true, I am so for it, and for multiple reasons. All right. So reason number one why I'm so for this casting is he has the acting range for it. Without a doubt, his resume speaks for itself.
Yeah.
His Joel in The Last of Us was great. He was able to play this beaten down, weary, I don't care about anyone, anything anymore kind of role perfectly in The Last of Us. I hope he wins in the Emmys. He's great obviously as Mandalorian, where just voice acting, you don't see his expression.
I don't think he even comes to the
No,
set
he
anymore,
doesn't.
right?
Only when he removes the mask, right?
Yeah.
So even with just his voice, he's able to deliver so much range.
Yeah.
And in Wonder Woman in 1984, awesome movie. No, I'm just kidding. Terrible movie, but I don't think he's one of the reasons why that movie was terrible. He was fun to watch. He was very annoying and charismatic at the same time. Just wanted to punch him in the face, and I felt like he delivered that kind of character, that role perfectly. So I have no doubt he could deliver the acting, the requirements, in terms of the performance. The second reason why I really like this casting is he carries with him a huge fan base. He has a huge following from all these franchises he's carrying, he brings with him the fan base of Sony with The Last of Us, gamers rather. and he has a fan base of Star Wars. He has the fan base of Game of Thrones. So I feel like why I think this is a huge plus in terms of him playing Mr. Fantastic is because I feel like Marvel could use that extra boost for this movie, especially how like this movie has been like really pushed back, and then with all the PR that Marvel's going through, it would be nice to have this kind of this kind of extra thing for that comes with having Pedro Pascal. My only issue with this casting, and it's a minor issue, it's his age. He is 48. So for context, when Iron Man 1 came out, Robert Downey was 43. So he probably shot the movie when he was 41, right? So with Pedro Pascal at 48, this movie comes out in they'll shoot, release as soon as possible. He'll be what, maybe 51, 52, still an okay age. But like, we're assuming that this guy will carry the MCU moving forward for the next few phases. That's plus 10, 12 years. So he's going to be in his 60s. I don't know how that's going to turn out, but I'm not necessarily against it because I kind of like the idea of your lead in the MCU being like an older guy, not like your Chris Evans, which is your 30s, very staple Hollywood hunk. It's pretty cool. Like the idea of having like an older guy being the lead for an MCU, like more grizzled or whatever. I like that idea. I just wonder if will he still be able to perform with it because of his age? But then again, Mr. Fantastic doesn't really require a lot of physicality. It could be CGI'd. But yeah, it's a minor concern, nothing really deal breaker. But overall, I have no doubt that Pedro Pascal has what it takes to carry this role and potentially be the lead of the MCU moving forward. So you, Meeks, what are your thoughts on everything?
Well, for me, first of all, for me, it was a bit of a surprise because I honestly felt like even before the strike, the roles had been casted. Yeah. They just couldn't announce it. That was my gut feeling the entire time. So this comes to me as a surprise, definitely. But with regards to the rumors, you're right. I think that, first and foremost, does he have the acting skills required to perform the role well? And if you're asking me about that, I say yes, definitely. Yeah. And it seems like Pedro Pascal's really killing it. I mean, look at all of these franchises he has. He's really ticking off the pop culture characters
everything one
by one. So it only makes sense. So, and with his age, I think if you look at all of the people that they had considered, everyone is really sort of in that age bracket, right? So, and I think Kevin Feige confirmed that this would not be an origin story.
No.
So it doesn't necessarily need to be a young person because Iron Man 1 was an origin story. Captain America was, so it only made sense to cast younger actors. So, and if this is really gonna be someone that they have lead the MCU going forward, then it's okay to have someone with that sort of aged look with gravitas. So that's okay for me also. But for me, when I think about it and when I think about who ideally would I want for Reed Richards, I'm still sort of on that John Krasinski bandwagon. Really? Yeah, because I feel even after A Quiet Place, I feel like John Krasinski's, and he has Jack Ryan on Amazon, so I feel like he's sort of starting to break into that leading man role. Yeah. But I do admit that between the two, Pedro Pascal is the more popular one these days. Yeah. So maybe that's why Marvel Studios is leaning towards them. But yeah, I guess for me, if he were casted today, tomorrow, I would be happy with it. Yeah. But with Pedro Pascal's casting, because obviously Reed Richards is known to be a straight up American, right? Mm-hmm. Is Pedro Pascal gonna conform to that role, or is it going to be more of an interesting cast with more inclusivity considered? But like you, for example, if Pedro Pascal is really the one that's gonna be Reed Richards, do you want like a straight up American Sue Storm? Do you want someone that's a bit more
No, I mean, my intro to Fantastic Four, I don't really know the Fantastic Four that much.
Yeah.
I don't have that much exposure to them, so I don't really care. I don't really mind about the race really.
Yeah.
And I think it's enough for me that Pedro Pascal kind of looks like he can look like a version of Mr. Fantastic. He's not like, like the definitive look of Mr. Fantastic, but I think, he already has that salt and pepper going on. It kind of looks like him. Good enough for me.
I wonder though, like, how do you think those that are fans of Fantastic Four will respond to the casting?
So I was over because I check Reddit a lot, man. So like you should, you being like a fan,
try every now and then, but I just don't last too long.
Yeah, I mean, I don't like engage, but I like reading comments just to get like a little like a
gauge.
temperature check, of like where the fans are at, because that's where you go really to know where like how the fans are, or what they're thinking. So when I was checking over Reddit earlier, their concern wasn't really about the race. It was more of that he's just not a fit. Like great actor, no doubt about it. But he's just not a fit for the character. I guess these people know Reed Richards more than me.
Is that in terms of like characterization or like the look?
Characterization. They were saying like they don't really like.
But I mean, that's what an actor's supposed to do,
Yeah,
right? To sort of fit into the character.
I mean, like from what I know, from what I've gathered about Mr. Fantastic, is that he's supposed to be this character wherein he's one of the smartest men in the universe.
He's always going to be the smartest one in the room.
And he makes everyone know that.
Yeah.
He's very cocky, even more cocky than Tony Stark. He really he does it in like an annoying way.
Yeah.
Like you just want to punch him in the face,
Yeah.
And I'm not doubting Pedro Pascal's range. I'm sure he could deliver that. But that's also why I would kind of like Adam Driver more, because I think Adam Driver really delivers that. I think he could really pull off that. He looks smart, but at the same time, he looks like you want to punch him.
I mean, from the other YouTubers that I follow, when they talk about Reed Richards, that's the main thing. That is, when he's in the room, he's the smartest one in the room. And so if you look at all of the previous castings, Adam Driver, would you ever believe he was the smartest guy in the room? I would.
Yeah, easily.
John Krasinski, I would. Right away.
Yeah.
Pedro Pascal, he's gonna have to win us over with his performance.
Yeah.
I guess there's gonna be that initial sort of like resistance to his casting, but I mean, like you said, and we both agreed, naman, that his acting talents are there.
Yeah.
So he can probably convince us.
Yeah. An interesting question, a follower, thank you, Chino. He asked, now that, again, not yet confirmed, but if it is, now that Adam Driver is not Mr. Fantastic, does this open up
For Dr.
Doom? How do you feel about him as Dr. Doom?
He would be cool. I think that it would definitely be good casting. I think he has the screen presence for it. I just wonder, as an actor, do you think he'd want to go from being Kylo Ren to Doctor Doom right away?
Yeah, it's exactly where I was gonna lead into. Like, again, I also don't know anything about Doom.
Yeah.
I just know he's cool. People like him as a villain. He's an Avengers level threat and all that. People are excited to see who's gonna be Doom. And yeah, Adam Driver, great actor again. I get it and all. But the funny thing is, if he is Doom, he is gonna be playing another masked villain.
Yeah.
And I just don't know if he's ready for that again. After he was done dirty. They didn't really do Kylo Ren properly.
Okay, and also if the rumors were true that they were considering Adam Driver, because those rumors persisted for long.
Yeah.
So maybe they were negotiating for a long time. Yeah. So if they couldn't meet or agree on Reed Richards, what makes us think they would agree for Doctor Doom, right? I mean, right?
Yeah,
why would he agree to Doctor Doom but not agree to Reed Richards? So
that's true. Yeah. With Sue Storm, Who among all the rumors? There are a lot.
Vanessa Kirby is.
Margot Robbie was
is-
one.
I mean, I feel like Margot Robbie, as cool as she is, I feel like it'll be overexposure for her. She's already in so much like pop culture stuff. I just
but
don't
Pedro
know.
Pascal is also.
Also, that's why, right? I mean, that's the thing. They're definitely the trajectory, but like I feel like Pedro Pascal makes sense because he hasn't been in a comic book film. Margot Robbie's already such a famous Harley Quinn.
Yeah.
Does she want to take on Sue Storm?
Yeah, that's my problem. Like she's Harley Quinn. She's
Yeah.
a known like comic character.
Yeah,
Like, she
and
established
now it's
herself.
like we're also starting to know her as Barbie. So it's like
With Vanessa Kirby though, like
I take her.
I don't even like care about her in Mission Impossible. Like she's forgettable for me.
I mean, like in the last Mission Impossible, she was sort of like you can kind of forget her.
Yeah.
But in the one prior to
No,
that,
even
where,
that one,
where
yeah.
we first met her character, I think she played the role well. And I think, I mean, I'm not a huge fan of her, but I've met other people who are fans of
Yeah.
her. So there are people who actually think that she's a really great actress.
Yeah. A lot of fans are actually for Vanessa Kirby. So again, I'm all for this whole Fantastic Four. I'm okay with. I don't know anyone.
And because it's such because it's an ensemble, you don't want to fill the team with like super famous people. For me, it becomes
Yeah.
less effective. It would be nice if we can get like sort of a team of up and comers anchored by one
Yeah.
really famous person.
That actually, I think, was the problem with the movie. If I'm not mistaken, one of the issues, now I'm remembering it, one of the issues supposedly that Adam Driver, or like in generally that the movie had was Fantastic Four follows 4 leads.
Yeah.
Not one, but
Yeah,
4.
yeah.
So if you're going to cast 4 big names, it's
Yep,
expensive.
yep.
And then if you're going to cast someone like Adam Driver, who is a leading man material, and you're going to cast another leading man for Johnny,
Yeah.
you're going to be battling for the
Yep.
for the screen time. So it's like there was so much problems there.
And it's like it just becomes more difficult to sort of separate the actor from the character when they're too famous.
Yeah.
Because I mean, for the Fantastic Four, for me, I honestly feel like I would appreciate it more if the actors that they choose are fresh faces.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where's your excitement level for this Fantastic Four?
Oh, dude. I mean, we've already had 3 Fantastic Four movies and all have flopped. So, I mean, I'm cautiously optimistic. Of course, I'm happy that it's with Marvel Studios, but even Marvel Studios is
Yeah.
missing these days. But I'm excited. What's really driving my excitement for Fantastic Four is for the introduction of Doctor Doom into the MCU. Because
Yeah.
moving forward, based on new rumors, Doctor Doom could be playing a bigger role, which we'll talk about
Yeah.
later on.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, a lot of exciting things for Fantastic Four. Who's going to be Sue? Who's going to be Johnny? Who's going to be the Thing? Who's going to be Doctor Doom? Now that the strike is over, I expect a lot of these announcements to be coming in the coming days. So stay tuned for that. We'll definitely be talking more about it. Moving on to topic number 2. I'm excited for this one. We have news on Superman Legacy. So yeah, we know now who maybe one of the villains is gonna be in the Superman Legacy movie. So here we have in Deadline, Maria Gabriela de Faria, the Venezuelan actress best known for roles in Fox comedies Animal Control and The Moodies, has landed a breakout part on the film side, joining the cast of James Gunn's Superman Legacy. Her character is Angela Spica, aka the Engineer. Part of the Warner DC Flicks villain team, Angie's powers stem from nanotechnology built into her body. Created by Warren Ellis and Brian Hitch, she's the second DC character to bear the name of the Engineer and was first introduced in the Authority Volume Number 1. So, going off with this, first thing that came to my mind is what a James Gunn thing. Immediately, like, I don't know who it is.
Yeah,
It's like,
exactly.
okay. you
Yep.
know? Who's the Engineer? Who's the Authority? I'll get more on that, actually. But, like, yeah. I don't know who any of these are. Who's this actress? I have no idea. It was the exact same thing I felt when The Guardians came out and Chris Pratt was announced as the role. So, weirdly enough, because it's by James Gunn, I'm like, okay, he's cooking. Like, I have no reason to doubt him. It's a very typical James Gunn kind of thing to do. I really, really like how we're now having a Superman villain that's not Lex or Zod. That immediately for me is like, yes, check right away. We're doing one thing right already. We're straying away from that, and we're also straying away from the easy one, which is people want to do Brainiac. If it's not Lex or Zod, fans were like, let's do Brainiac. It's time we do Brainiac. I don't know about Brainiac, man. I don't know with you, but if you ask me, we could build towards Brainiac as a Justice League villain, not necessarily as a Superman villain, but build him up in Superman sequels, and then the Justice League fights him, in their second movie. So I didn't want to rush into Brainiac also. So I'm happy that we're getting this unknown villain or like group of villains in Superman Legacy. And I also like how we're also starting to get an idea of like what James Gunn is building, because James Gunn has said that one of his passion projects in the DCU is the Authority movie, and she's a member of that. So we're now starting to get a connective tissue. I just hope he's not biting more than he could chew, because that was ultimately the fall of the DCEU, right? There was so much plans were all the plan, like they just like shoved the plan in one movie, and it fell, it broke apart. So I just hope they know what they're doing. And again, I have no doubt about it. James Gunn, just let James Gunn cook. You, Meeks, what are your?
I mean, I was the same. When I saw the announcement, I was like, who? On both ends, who the character and who the actress. But when I did my digging and I found out that it was a character that was from the Authority, I was like, okay, this makes a little bit of sense. Honestly, I think that she's not going to be the main villain for Superman Legacy. I think she's going to make an appearance in Superman Legacy in preparation for the Authority. Because I feel like the Authority will eventually become the Justice League's enemies maybe in the first one. I think that's what we're building towards. So, I like that if you look at all of the casting announcements so far for Superman Legacy, it's all like
Unknowns.
Fresh, right?
Fresh.
They're like
Fresh.
for people who are fans of the little body of work that the people have been in,
Nathan Fillion,
they have a
Firefly.
fan base. David Cornsweet has his fan base from his show.
Mrs. Maisel.
Yeah, there's Mrs. Maisel. So, I like that it's fresh faces. So, so far with all of the casting announcement, I feel like James Gunn knows what he's doing. I feel like it's definitely offering. We're starting to kind of see of what this movie is going to look like. So, so far, I like what I'm seeing, and I like the freshness of it all.
Yeah. So like going on to the Authority. So I did some research, before going here actually. So now that it has been confirmed that we're gonna get at least one member of the Authority in the Superman Legacy movie, fans were kind of confident already that this movie is gonna be at least inspired by a very popular comic issue called Superman: What's So Funny with Truth, Justice, and the American Way. So in that comic issue, it was Superman going against this group called the Elite. Who in the Elite basically is DC's version of the Authority. I think the Authority, like DC didn't own the Authority, and then eventually I think they bought that comic like Wildstorm. So eventually then they incorporated Authority into DC. But so basically in that comic, What's So Funny with Truth, Justice, and the American Way, the basic premise of it, and I haven't read it yet, I'm going to read it actually after this, is that Superman comes into conflict with a group of, I wouldn't say superheroes, but I guess superpowered individuals, which is the Elite, or in Superman Legacy's case, well, talking about the comic, against the Elite, right? Superman comes into conflict with them because Superman disagrees with their ideologies and morals. They're the type of people that gets the job done. They don't care if they have to kill, vigilante style, but they'll really like straight out kill.
Yeah.
They'll kill if they have to, but they get the work done.
Yeah.
So the entire comic apparently is about that. Where like they're after the same. I don't know who the villain is in that comic, but like they're after the same thing, but they're going about it in two different ways, right? And that's that conflict. Like they know where they're coming from. They know that they mean well, but they just disagree with each other. And Superman, throughout that entire issue, keeps instilling, I will fight for truth. I will fight for like justice and like, fighting for fairness and what's right for people and stuff like that. If you want to kill people, then I think we just are going to be disagreeing on this, know.
Yeah.
And so seeing as how that might be, most likely will be the inspiration for Superman Legacy, I think that really calls for like a really unique movie. And more importantly, I feel like it's a movie that really deals with what's going on now, you know, where like there's so many voices on like what people should do, what they want to do, but then like what should you actually do?
Yeah.
What is the right thing to do? So I'm excited to see that, and no better than Superman to be a representation of that kind of conversation.
Because I mean, like when you talk about Superman, like one of the best ways to sort of tell his stories is sort of because he's really such a Boy Scout, right? So one of the best ways to tell
Not
his
according to
stories
Zack Snyder.
is to add contrast to that.
Yeah.
To challenge his ideals. So The Authority will be a good fit, and The Authority is going to be a movie, right?
Yes.
So I think that by introducing the characters one by one or sprinkling them throughout before the release will be a good way to sort of get an audience behind the movie before it even comes out.
Yeah.
So this is, I feel like, is definitely a smart move. By the way, talking about the Elite, wasn't there an animated movie?
Yes.
Yeah.
That is inspired by that, based on the comic book. What's So Funny Truth, Just an American Way.
Yeah, I
So
have
kinda
not seen that.
Yeah,
so
now I'm going to rewatch it
yeah,
actually.
yeah.
So we'll maybe do a review after this, let you guys know how that goes. But yeah, actually how I'm seeing it, again, based off what we think may happen, like it might be based off that comic line, and those are like, that's what they're battling, ideologies and morals. How I see it is basically, how I'm envisioning it is the Authority is basically like how they act, how they fight, and whatever, their morals. They're kind of like the heroes we see in The Boys.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Very bloody, very gruesome.
Yeah.
And just imagine Superman, Boy Scout, showing up in the Boys universe.
Yeah.
So that's how I'm seeing it. And I think that could be really cool, I think that is such a fresh take in the Superman character. And again, I think it is such a very now kind of thing to be seeing, you know. So I'm excited for that. Moving on to topic. Anything else you want to talk about with the Superman Legacy?
No, I'm good. Yeah.
I'm excited to see though who Lex is gonna be. That's simmering already, man.
I mean, okay, fine. Like again, like for me, just wanted to put out there, I still believe, and I'd bet on it, our villain is going to be Lobo in this. It's gonna be Jason Momoa. That's. I mean, you want a fresh villain for Superman that's not like Lobo. And Lobo has a fan base behind him already. And if you're casting someone like Jason Momoa, you're not gonna have that one just along the side. And it's not like there's a Lobo movie announced, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, it seems like he's gonna be the villain.
So let's say Lobo is the villain. Do you think there will still be a Lex though?
Yeah, I mean that is my ideal situation for this movie. Have Lobo as the main antagonist, someone that can go toe to toe with him, but still have the classic Superman characters that we want. So have Lex behind the scenes and save him for down the road.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who's your pick for Lex?
Dude, it's still Alexander Skarsgård.
Oh yeah,
for
we
me.
spoke about that. Yeah. Ever since I saw Blackberry, Glenn Howerton, the bald guy in Blackberry, holy hell, he's so scary in that movie, man.
I mean,
Walks in like yelling. I'm like, okay, now I see why people want him as Lex. Dude is so scary, man.
Yeah, I know, but for some we have the fans have this habit where like, as long as the actor is bald, like they're cast.
But Glenn Howerton isn't normally bald.
Yeah.
He's not normally bald.
Yeah. But I don't know, because for me, I just want a completely different take on Lex. And to have someone like Alexander Skarsgård, who's like, we've never even, come on, have we ever had like a Lex that is like leading man almost material?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, I just want to see a fresh take on him.
Yeah, and I guess, to your point, if we get someone like Alexander Skarsgård as Lex, leading man material. So you could even have Lex show up in different movies.
Yeah.
It'd be cool to see Lex show up in a Batman movie, like Bruce versus Lex kind of storyline.
And if you look at the previous Superman movies, the actor that they cast for Superman is always an unknown.
Yeah.
But who they cast around him sort of
Yeah.
has some weight to their
Yeah.
names. So Alexander Skarsgård, he sort of has that already.
Yeah.
So it would only make sense for me.
We're gonna have a jacked Lex, man. It's gonna be
I
dope.
mean, he doesn't have to be jacked, but
Oh, but he's gonna be jacked, dude.
yeah. I mean, if he can look the way he looked on Succession, and then just sort of make him look like a billionaire that's evil, it's perfect.
It's gonna be funny if Alexander plays Lex and then his brother Bill plays Joker.
I mean, I hope we don't get like a Joker anytime soon for Batman.
Yeah, there's too much
though.
Jokers already.
Yeah.
I agree. Moving on. Topic number 3. We have the writer confirmed for Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow. Over in Variety, there it's written here, Ana Nogueira, or I'm pretty sure I'm saying that wrong. Ana Nogueira is set to write Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, which is being developed by DC Studios. The film, centering on Superman's cousin, Kara Zor-El, and her superdog, Krypto, has yet to be attached to a director. An actor and playwright, Nogueira had been hired by Warner Brothers. An actor and playwright, Nogueira had been hired by Warner Brothers to write a Supergirl movie in 2022. The original project was conceived as a spin-off of The Flash, which featured Sasha Calle as the character. However, the project was scrapped when James Gunn and Peter Safran took over leadership on the upcoming slate of DC Comics adaptations. Gunn and Safran revealed that Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow would be part of DC Studios' first lineup of features, which will reboot the continuity beginning with Gunn's Superman legacy in 2025. Describing the upcoming Supergirl film, Gunn cited Tom King's comics as an inspiration and called the new film character a very different type of Supergirl and much more hardcore. We see the difference between Superman, who was sent to Earth and raised by loving parents from the time he's an infant, versus Supergirl, who was raised on a rock chip off of Krypton and watched everyone around her die and be killed in terrible ways for the first 14 years of her life. Gunn shared. Wow, that's pretty wild. I mean, I don't know this writer. In fact, even the article says it. Like, she's fairly new. I think she in her career, I think she's like written like eps of Vampire Diaries and not much after
think
that.
She wrote an episode. I think she starred in it.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Like, I think she was more of an actress first.
Well, either or, she's very much a newcomer,
Yeah.
and I don't know where I land with this. I'm always for like, come on, let's give fresh talent. I'm not just like what you said, right? Like, let's get fresh faces for actors, and I don't know if I have that same logic with writers. I think for me, when it comes to writers and directors, I prefer more about about to break out in their career. So for this, I'm only just going with, okay, I guess James Gunn saw something, but it doesn't make me more excited for Supergirl, obviously, because I don't know the writer.
I mean, for me, it's like, yes, I agree that, like, because everyone needs their first break, right? So I could support that, However, I do believe that the creative team behind, let's say, a movie of this size, it's just a little concerning that you would trust someone that doesn't really have a huge body of work just yet.
Yeah.
I mean, we've had other examples, right? Like, whether it's like a first time writer taking on a big blockbuster or a first time director. Like, for example, X-Men, was it Apocalypse or something? Remember, it was like Simon Kinberg.
Yeah.
And he was usually a writer, but became a first-time director for that one.
You know how that turned out.
Exactly, right? So, and it's like, these movies are costing how much these days? 200 million, 200 plus million. So it's just, for me, it's like, if I were in, the room with the studio heads, I would be a bit more hesitant to give it to someone that hasn't been tried and tested. But we also haven't seen anything.
Yeah.
So James Gunn has actually because it's like, okay, it's not like James Gunn was saying, okay, here's this
Yeah.
unknown writer and I'm gonna trust her.
Yeah.
He said that he actually
Saw
saw
a script already.
saw what he liked, and decided to take her
Yeah.
on. So that for me gives me a little bit of trust, because I just feel like
Let James
when
cook.
it comes to a script, James knows
Yeah.
what he's looking
Yeah.
for. So that's the only thing that's sort of making me trust it.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Fingers crossed,
Yeah.
man.
I think the only disappointment I had here is because I guess I was expectations were like I was overhyping myself. Coming off of Barbie, I was like, oh man, give Greta Supergirl.
But what if she
Right
gets
afterwards.
hired as director?
Yeah, that's actually one of the things people are talking about. The issue there is that Greta apparently, again, I don't know Greta's work that much aside from Barbie and something Bird. Greta usually writes what she directs. So that's the only problem.
But what if, like, okay, yeah, fine. But I mean, what if she's hired and sort of given the power to do rewrites? Because, like,
Yeah.
you know,
Maybe.
a script can be
Yeah.
written by more than one
Yeah.
writer, right?
Yeah.
So,
So, yeah, I mean, again, James Gunn even said actually in one of his replies on Instagram that they're actively looking for a director already. So,
I mean, it's just nice that we have a Supergirl
Yeah.
movie moving forward.
yeah.
right?
So, for me, fingers crossed still for Greta Gerwig. So, we'll stay tuned for that one. Moving on to topic number 4, we have over in Deadline, Destin Daniel Cretton departs as director on Avengers: The Kang Dynasty, remains aboard Wonder Man, Shang-Chi 2, and more in MCU. So Deadline hears that filmmaker, well, I just repeated that. Deadline hears that filmmaker Destin Daniel Cretton has decided to step away as director of Marvel Studios' Avengers: Kang Dynasty to focus on his other Marvel projects. This is an amicable exit, I understand, as Cretton remains fully in the Marvel Studios family. In fact, Cretton is in talks with Marvel Studios about directing future movies. Note that Avengers: Kang Dynasty is far on the theatrical release schedule, dated to kick off summer on May 1, 2026. The movie will precede Avengers: Secret Wars on May 7, 2027, which will wrap up the Marvel Cinematic Universe's Phase 6 features. Cretton is currently busy on the Marvel Studios Disney Plus series Wonder Man, which he co-created with Andrew Guest, who serves as the showrunner. Aside from that, he's working on the Shang-Chi sequel. When is that gonna come out? Oh my god, it's been how many years? But yeah, my takeaway from this is I'm actually pretty relieved because I like Shang-Chi. It was one of the best ones of that phase 4. Definitely one of the best ones. I liked the movie, I liked the pacing, I liked the directing and all that. I liked how Simu Liu portrayed his role and all that. But I never got oh man, this guy could be directing the next Avengers. But the counter myself, is that, I mean, when I watched Winter Soldier, I didn't think
The
this guy
Russos,
should,
right?
this guy should
Yeah.
direct,
Yeah.
So I get it, but now that he's out, I'm still okay with it because a part of me still really wants the Russo brothers to come back. But again, they could come back for Secret Wars, not necessarily Kang Dynasty. But yeah, aside from, I don't really have much to say to this aside from, I think this is Kevin Feige already just adjusting everything. We're starting to see these adjustments being made. I just hope that the dates don't get pushed because I think everyone's really hungry for an Avengers movie already. So I don't know what the play is for there. So
I mean, okay, so for me, like, the Kang Dynasty losing its director is a clear-cut sign that, unfortunately with the Jonathan Major stuff, I feel this is, for me, it's a clear-cut sign that Marvel is going to move away from Kang.
mm-hmm.
My read here is, I think that they had already started work on that Avengers movie, and because like if you think about it, Shang-Chi 2 was never announced.
Yeah.
Like, yes, they said that there would be a sequel, but it's not on a slate. So for sure, the director has been working on the Wonder Man and this. And I guess when he found out that
Kang isn't happening.
Kang is gonna be moved away, then it just means that it's gonna add more time to the more work on this movie, and it's going to delay his sequel to Shang-Chi even further. So
do you think that they're just gonna axe this Avengers movie and then just go straight to Secret Wars, or you think we're still gonna have a precursor?
I have a feeling what's gonna happen is because with Loki, sort of like
Spoiler.
you could sort of say that's a good way to sort of end that Kang storyline, right? So if that's the route they go, it's far enough for them to put work into replacing the villain on that. And say, for example, if we're really getting Fantastic Four, what is that, 2025? Right?
Yeah.
And Avengers is what, like 2020?
Fantastic Four movie, 2025 for MCU.
And this Avengers movie is 2026. So I feel like, because even next year, right? Next year we're only getting one MCU movie.
Deadpool.
So I feel like this is the perfect opportunity for sort of Marvel to sort of regroup and sort of move things around. So I feel like this is the perfect opportunity to tie up Kang's storyline, introduce Doctor Doom, and sort of tee him up for this Avengers movie. And imagine, because Marvel retitles all the time, right? How many times has Agatha been retitled? So this can be retitled. Imagine if we get something like Avengers, The Rise of Doom, or something like that. And apparently, and I'm not super aware of the comics, but apparently Doctor Doom plays a huge role in Secret Wars. Apparently. So he can slide right in, right? So I feel like this is a really great opportunity. I feel like maybe this is what we're gonna get.
So you're completely sold on Doom really is the villain in Secret Wars already?
If Marvel is really pivoting away from Kang, then yes. Because honestly, I feel like, okay, Kang for me was more of like a deep cut character still. Doctor Doom is someone I kind of grew up with.
Yeah.
And so for me, if we can get Doctor Doom in there, then I'm for it.
Yeah. With Daniel, Cretin, Daniel something Cretin, moving away of Avengers to focus on the Wonder Man and Shang-Chi 2. Are you excited for these properties of his? Like, where are you at there?
Okay, Wonder Man, I'll take it.
Hey, good actor though.
Yeah, I'm
hey,
okay.
Man.
I'm okay.
What's his name?
Forget.
Black Manta dude. Yeah, that guy.
Yeah.
Him.
Yeah, that guy.
Yahya Abdul Mateen or something like that.
I'm actually a fan.
He's great. The Get Down in Netflix.
Yeah.
Woo. He's
Yeah.
great there.
Shang-Chi was good. Yes, you're right. I mean, if we're looking at post-Endgame, Shang-Chi's one of the shining stars. And Kevin Feige always says a good storyteller is a good storyteller. So despite their lack of filmography, I'm excited for this guy's stuff.
Yeah. Well, let's see what happens to the Kang dynasty. Will a new director be replaced? Will the movie be canceled? Will Doom take place as a villain in those movies?
Who would be your dream hire
for Avengers?
For a replacement?
I really love the support for director of Black Panther, Ryan Coogler.
Yeah.
When he did Black Panther 2, I'm like, okay, he can handle a big scale story.
So you wanted someone that's been used by Marvel already, or someone that's been hired by Marvel already?
Especially for an Avengers movie, yeah. I think so. I feel it's such a big thing to hand it to someone who hasn't handled these characters. I think you need someone because with Ryan Coogler, it's not just he directed Black Panther. He's been advising. He would advise in other projects, so he has an understanding on who these characters are, where their journeys are.
Ryan Coogler is a pretty solid director. I mean, Creed was good, so.
Yeah, Black Panther 2 was really done well. It was really with Black Panther 2 where I got the idea of he can handle big scale. He can handle small scale, clearly with Creed, but he can handle these big ones, you know, and worthy for Avengers. So will it happen? I don't know. So
Before we exit the topic, I saw fan casting today that was interesting to me. What if it was Cillian Murphy for Doctor Doom?
oh yeah, I saw that one. He even commented on that, I think.
I feel like I'd take it.
I don't mind, you know, but I feel like
I would take it.
he wasn't Batman, so I guess he does one of these, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot of fan castings with this Doom. I mean, just Henry Cavill even.
And imagine,
you know?
just like, we're gonna see Doctor Doom in his real freaking costume.
The last one we saw him in.
It's gonna be amazing.
Oh man. I mean, to be seen, you know, with all this director, you know, moving in and out, and who the casting of Doom is gonna be. I think we're gonna find out sooner rather than later. It's gonna be like in a mere weeks to months until everything starts
Marvel
getting
definitely
announced.
has an interesting opportunity here. Like with all of their misses, because I think we can both agree that Deadpool 3 will probably make $1 billion.
Easily.
So they're gonna have a win under their belt.
Yeah.
And then they're gonna have a year of quiet.
Yeah.
So at least they can get back get their game back, get their mojo back, and sort of we can start to see the old MCU back.
Yep. I am hopeful, you know. Especially with me like having seen the Loki finale, loving the entire it ended perfectly. Also enjoying the Marvels, and then so that follows up with we will be having a review next week on Loki and the Marvels. So be sure to follow us, subscribe for our thoughts on that. We have never actually spoken about it. I'm very excited to talk to him about it because I have an idea where he lands with those two. So excited to go over it. But yeah, what I was saying was that I'm excited to see the follow through from Loki, the Marvels, and then Deadpool. So I wonder if there's gonna be like some connective, like what the connectiveness is and all that. More on that when the time comes. So yeah, that wraps up our 4 topics. However, we have one trailer update. We have, for an exciting movie, we have the very first trailer for Madame Web by Sony Pictures. So this is directed by S.J. Clarkson. This is also starring Dakota Johnson, Sydney Sweeney, Celeste O'Connor, Isabella Merced. Ooh, Isabella Merced, she's Hawkgirl in Superman Legacy. And Tahar Rahim. Bunch of people I know, Dakota... Sydney
50
Sweeney,
Shades,
yeah,
right?
you know, Euphoria. S.J. Clarkson here. She's a director for. Wow, this is her first movie. That doesn't really give me much faith in the movie. You saw the trailer. Thoughts?
Okay. I mean, it's Sony Spider-Verse, right? Which is, I mean, we're how many movies in? Like we have the 2 Venoms. We're gonna have Craven. We had Morbius. We don't.
Oh my God, we had Morbius.
Yeah, we don't know what's happening.
Shit,
Like
I forgot.
Okay, Morbius was part of the Venom universe,
Yeah,
right?
of course. Venom,
Right?
So-
Morbius
yeah.
had that scene where. So they confirmed that. Is Craven in the same universe? Is Madame
I think it's safe
Web?
to assume it's all in the same universe.
It's still, for me, it's like this whole universe with no Spider-Man in it is weird. And the Madame Web character, like, who is this? Like, does anyone need it? Is Sony just sort of like going through pages?
Okay. I have a hot take here. So to answer your question, what is this, universe with no Spider-Man, right? Like, with the Spider-Verse movies, we've established the multiverse, right? Like, there's so many different universes, and this is just one of those universes where maybe Spider-Man doesn't exist. He just simply doesn't exist, right? And that's their take on it. So for me, I'm like, okay, that's fine. In the multiverse scheme of things, okay, I get it. There's a universe where Spider-Man doesn't exist. Is it a universe I want to visit? Not necessarily, but it's a world that exists. What I do think that they could do, is if this is a universe where Spider-Man that doesn't exist, have it connect into the Spider-Verse in some capacity. I don't know if they're leading up to a live action Into the Spider-Verse or whatever, but if they find a way to connect this, let's call it Venomverse, the Morbius and Venom and this one, find a way to connect that into the Spider-Verse, then maybe I could buy into it. And to answer your second question, which connects to what I was just saying, who's Madame Web? I might be butchering this, but basic premise is that she knows all the Spider-Mans from every universe or something like that. Either she's able to talk to, reach out, or see, or she controls all the Spider-Mans from all universes. That's why the web of whatever, that's her thing. So she might be, Dakota Fanning might be that connective tissue that links into the Spider-Verse. Just my take on on how I understand the characters and all.
Based on the trailer, the story looks kind of cool. I think it has like Groundhog Day sort of vibe where she's repeating.
Yes. I didn't understand.
Is it like
power.
A time travel thing?
Or could you just see?
Is the day just repeating? So it looks interesting, but honestly, the Sony movies for me, it's like it's really hit or miss, and oftentimes it's a miss. Okay, fine. We can agree that, this could just be another universe with no Spider-Man in it. However, remember in the Morbius trailer, there was that poster of Spider-Man that says wanted or something like that. So it's like, what's that?
Yeah.
And these Sony movies always just feel like those early 2000 comic book movies.
Yeah.
So for me, I'll probably watch it when it comes out on streaming.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm gonna go to the theater for this, and this is not me hating on because oftentimes when an all-female cast-led movie is bashed, they say, "Oh, if it wasn't a female lead, you wouldn't."
Give me a good story.
It's not that, I just don't understand why this movie exists. And also, is Madame Web a hero or a villain? See,
I have no idea.
Because Venom, he was turned into an anti-hero, right? And okay, fine. In the comics, you can argue that Venom sort of has that role already. But you and I have played Spider-Man 2. On the
that
PS5.
is a great Craven. I don't even know Craven.
Venom works better as a villain.
Yeah.
Now, Craven, are they going to make him an anti-hero?
Yeah.
Because even on this, Craven in the game, Craven worked better as a villain.
Yeah.
So the problem with having Spider-Man-less movies, they're forced to make these characters anti-heroes. And for me, it's betraying the character.
Yeah, I agree. But again, I guess this is that universe, right? This is that universe where these villains are semi-heroes, anti-heroes, anti-villain, whatever you want to call it, right? But let me ask you this. What if say my theory pans out that this connects into the Spider-Verse or whatever, what if this Venomverse, all these guys, all these Morbius and Venom and Madame Web and Craven, what if they get teleported to the Andrew Garfield universe? Would you be down for that?
Yeah.
I'd be down for that.
I don't need it to connect to the MCU.
Yeah.
I just need a Spider-Man in it. I wouldn't put him in the Sam Raimi one.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I said
that's precious to me.
Yeah.
Andrew Garfield is fine. Or what if they just freaking finally introduce Miles?
Yeah. I mean,
because this is a universe that really okay, Spider-Man is sensitive, because there's Tom Holland still.
Yeah.
And because for me, honestly, Miles Morales is due.
Yeah.
He is due to show up, right? Yeah. So if Sony is really treating this Venomverse seriously, then maybe we can start setting up Miles, man.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know what this Madame Web movie trailer looked mid.
Yeah.
It looked really mid.
Come on. Doesn't it seem like Sony uses it uses one filter for all of these movies? And it seems like it's the early 2000s.
Yeah.
Like parang like remember Underworld?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Those kind
But-
of filters.
I mean, I'm not, to this movie's defense, I think the movie takes place in the early 2000s, if I'm not mistaken. I think there's set
but
photos in the early
it's being shot
2000s.
it's being shot in 2023, man. What the hell? Like, okay, it just looks like a world that's like almost not real.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't take place in like the real. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
But you saw in the trailer, right? There was like a Spider-Man-ish character.
Yeah, there's a name to that person.
Yeah, whatever.
And even like
Ezekiel or
there-
something like
yeah,
that.
and there's that other girl that has like
the thing.
the Iron Spider
The Iron
thing,
Spider thing.
right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
what is that?
Yeah.
Mm.
I don't know. I
Sony.
I really don't know what they're doing. For me, just have a plan. I just like, are you guys building towards something? Because like, you guys are having so many of these movies in your Spider-Man universe. Is it leading towards something? Sorry, just came to my mind. What I don't understand, how can Sony Pictures, that studio is the same studio that puts out Venom, but in the other side of it, puts out Into the Spider-Verse. How is that? Like, I don't understand. Like, it's a 180 in quality, man.
Because it's a lot easier to make a movie following like an actual hero, you know. Because with
Crazy.
these Venomverse movies, they're forced to sort of get us to believe that they can be anti-heroes. That's why, like I was gonna say, Aaron Taylor Johnson with Craven, having played Spider-Man 2, good luck.
Yeah, dude.
Following that up, man.
I was telling JK actually,
good
like,
luck.
I don't have any experience with like any. I don't know Craven at all.
Yeah.
This was my first encounter with Craven in Spider-Man 2.
Yeah.
Dude, I get it.
Yeah,
I
see?
get it.
And if they make Craven in the movie an anti-hero,
yeah.
I'm definitely like I'm out, man. Like
Yeah.
Craven in the game is
Yeah.
definitive.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
so freaking cool in the
Yeah.
game. Like, I
Yeah.
get it. The moment I saw, like, after finishing Spider-Man 2, I was like, now I know why people are kind of annoyed with, like, how it's being handled in the
Yeah.
movies and all that. I'm
Yeah,
like,
and like
okay.
if you remember the
Yeah.
trailer and like how he gets his powers, like his blood
Blood from a lion.
Like yeah, right? Like okay, come on, man. Oh my god.
I don't know. But I'm a fan of Aaron Taylor Johnson, so. I mean, with these movies, I'm always like, wait and see, because I enjoy Venom. I don't know with you, man.
Venom.
I
I
enjoy
enjoyed Venom 1. I feel like they missed
Two.
an
Should have been an R.
opportunity with 2.
Should have been an
Yeah.
R.
I mean, like, we've been waiting for Carnage for years. And just, the casting was great.
Yeah, Woody Harrelson.
But I just feel like the movie didn't sort of, like, deliver what Carnage could have been.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, those are our thoughts on Madame Web. Pretty much a wait and see for me, but like, I mean, I don't know what I mean, come
I
on,
think it's
man.
Madam Web, right? Madame Web.
I'm proper. I'm a proper guy, right? Madame.
It's like, I wanted to correct you earlier in the video. I was like, should I? Should I?
Well, thank you. Shit. So yeah, that wraps up our thoughts on our Screencast Weekly topics. Curious with you guys, what are your thoughts on, Pedro Pascal, the writers for Supergirl, all these Doctor Doom and Kang stuff,
And who are your fan castings? Let us know, and maybe we can discuss it in future videos.
So yeah, follow us on YouTube for more updates and more of our videos. We try to post weekly. So next week, something to look forward to. Me and my brother will be talking about our Loki thoughts, as well as Doctor The Marvel. So very excited for that one. Stay tuned for that.
Where do you think we fall on the spectrum for the Marvels review?
You?
We're on opposite ends.
Yeah, we are. Yeah. It's gonna be an interesting conversation. So stay tuned for that one. So if you guys want to follow me for more updates and everything, you can follow me on my Instagram, TikTok at Makitong. Miko.
You guys can follow me on my Instagram on miko.tung.